It's 8:10 you are watching BBC Breakfast.
And we're talking about sugar this morning. Too many youngsters are eating 3 times the maximum recommended amount. The equivalent of this, have a look,
Yeah, look at
22 kilo bag every single year. That is we're talking about a beast of the sheep. That is you've got to try and lift it at some stage.
I have managed to pick it up, but I'm not sure I'm going to do it again.
It's quite hard to do on live TV,
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I'm likely to struggle. If you're a parent, a new app by Public Health England could help you cut down on buying sugary foods.
Well, joining us in the studio is dietitian Nichola Whitehead, and Tim Wycroft from the Food and Drink Federation is in our London newsroom. Good morning to you both. Thank you very much for being with us. Good morning. Nichola, why is sugar such an issue? Quite a few people get in contact with the programme this morning saying it's common sense. You know, don't eat too much of it, use it here and there.
I think the problem is that so much sugar is hidden in products, and the fact is that kids are consuming too much, and what we know is that added sugar, free sugars, is linked to tooth decay and also obesity, and levels are rising.
Let's talk about the hidden sugars with Tim Rycroft. It's still not clear to many people how much sugar is in a product. What is the industry going to do about it?
Well, I'm all in favour of consumers being able to see exactly what the nutrition is of the products they buy, but they don't need an app to do that because it's on the front of every pack. Every pack has nutritional labelling, which declares the total sugars in that product. So it seems to me that we already have a way in which consumers can understand this. It's important that they do so, but it's also important that they don't focus just on one nutrient, but that they take a whole diet approach.
What about drinks, for example? I mean, I know there is information on drinks as well, but there is a point where you can just add up sugars, perhaps without realising it.
Well, I think it's important, of course, to continue to help consumers to make good choices, to help them to understand what the labels mean, to understand what their recommended daily allowance for different nutrients is. But the information is there for them, and I think there's a role here for education in schools to help people understand these labels. One of the things about the app that I think is potentially a bit problematical is that it only references the whole product. So a whole bottle of squash, for example, will tell you how much sugar is in the whole bottle. People don't drink a whole bottle of undiluted squash.
The other problem, Nichola, one of the problems again many people are talking about is that sugar tastes good. And we add it to things because it sometimes makes it more palatable.
It does taste good. I mean, I agree with the concept of looking at the diet as a whole, but I think one of the main problems with food labelling is at the moment is that you can't tell how much of the sugar is added because it is total sugars. It might be sugars from fruit, from milk, and it's the added sugars really that we want to be cutting down on. The app is a fantastic resource for children, and it does tell you how much added sugar is in the total product as well as the individual portion as well.
I think looking at that bag this morning, people watching this with kids, it gives you a bit of a shock factor, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So parents who are watching this now, Nichola, what can they do? Simple steps. The app is maybe one of those.
Yeah.
Simple steps to reduce the amount of sugar so that bag isn't as big for your kid if it's 5 years old.
The first step is to look at obvious sources of added sugar, things like fizzy drinks. Can you switch to water or the no added sugar alternative? Then look at snack times. Can you have things like fruit and nuts instead of things like biscuits and cakes? And the third is look at the nutrition label. It's already out there, the red, amber and green. If a product is red for sugar, then maybe think twice about buying it or have it in moderation, and that's the key.
Tim, you mentioned the red, amber and green as well. Evidence shows, though, that a lot of the food offers, the kind of bargain offers, can be on high sugary content products. Is the industry going to do something about that? Is it aware? Does it care?
Well, the industry absolutely cares about childhood obesity. It's a serious problem. The industry's been working with government for many years now to try and tackle it. And I think our record on reformulating products to take fat, salt and sugar out is actually rather a proud one. But on the issue of helping people to understand how much sugar is in there, absolutely, I think we should use every possible method, and we should back it up with education so that people really understand what the reference intake, the daily allowance means.
What about the offers on food with high sugar content?
Well, we've got a range of highly nutritious food, a bigger range in this country than we've ever had before, at all price points. We just need to be cautious about taking action which is going to make food more expensive for people for whom food is the biggest part of their household expenditure.
And Nichola, what about the other demons out there, salt, carbs and fat? Is sugar at the top of that list?
I think it seems that every day we're bombarded with a different nutrient, and the underlying message of eating more whole foods, fresh fruit, vegetables, whole grain, lentils has never changed. I think highlighting individual nutrients is great to raise awareness, but we shouldn't get too bogged down with things like salt and sugar. Take a step back. If you're eating mainly whole foods, then a little bit of sugar won't cause any harm. It's when it becomes too frequent. That's the problem.
Nicola, Tim, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Got an issue with lentils. I think it goes back to... No, it's not. There's nothing wrong just generally with a lentil, but I think I had a lentil flan issue when I was a young man. It's affected me deeply.
Oh, I love lentils. It's at 15 minutes past 8.